Welcome back to the Haunted Beard, everybody. My name is Jake. Thank you for joining me. Today, I want to give you my thoughts for Companion. This is a film that stars Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid and was written and directed by Drew Hancock. I want to give you some of my thoughts and my review for this. You may have to bear with me here a little bit. My voice, getting over a bit of a chest cold. Sound like I've probably been smoking 2 packs a day for the last 20 years. But anyways, we'll just power right through. So yeah, Companion. This was a pretty fun one overall that I actually quite enjoyed and had a really solid time with. Companion tells the story of Josh and Iris, played by Quaid and Thatcher respectively. They are a young couple who go to a remote cabin on this weekend getaway with some friends to hang out, and just say from that point on, all bets are off, and this film goes into some very surprising and unexpected directions. Now, one of the major things with this film is it kind of came into some controversy because I guess one of the trailers revealed a pretty significant plot twist that occurs about 20 minutes into the movie. And I myself, luckily, was able to avoid the trailers, and so I didn't have that aspect spoiled for me, whereas I know a lot of people did. Typically, I try to avoid all trailers and marketing as much as I can for this very reason. And I just feel like in general, trailers give too much away. I don't want to know all that. And so I was lucky enough to not know that reveal going into this film. However, based on knowing one of kind of the sub-genres of this film, I was able to figure out what that reveal was about 10 minutes into the movie. And so even though I was able to kind of figure it out, at least I had a pretty good guess as to what it was, and it turns out that was right, I still really enjoyed myself. And so if this is a film that you haven't seen yet and are perhaps on the fence about because you've seen that trailer and had that aspect spoiled for you, I would still recommend you check this thing out. I think even knowing that reveal going in isn't going to completely ruin your experience, and I think it's still going to be a worthwhile experience overall. I'll get into some of the positives here. First of all, this is writer-director Drew Hancock's first feature-length directorial film. And he's got a handful of other directing credits, but not a feature-length film. He's written a handful of other movies, but this guy has shown quite a bit of talent here. He's somebody I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on from now on, as he is able to construct a really engaging and entertaining story. The biggest highlight for me was just the ride that this movie takes you on. It is consistently surprising. It is consistently unpredictable. And like I said, even knowing that early reveal, it still has a whole lot to offer in the last 2/3 of the film that more than make up for it. As this is a film that the pacing is really solid, it moves, it goes, and so much of the appeal is built upon you not having a clue what's going to happen next and how it's all going to play out. And I really enjoyed that. And so that alone for me really made this a worthwhile and enjoyable experience. In addition to multiple twists and turns and unexpected directions, some other elements that this film has to offer that I quite enjoyed are the performances. I'm starting to become a pretty big Jack Quaid fan. I haven't seen everything he's done, but of the other work that I've seen, I've really enjoyed him. He's someone too that he can kind of play both sides. He can take on a more villainous role. He can take on a more good guy or heroic role. Thinking of his performance in something like Scream 5, where he does a solid job with that type of role, but also have been a big fan of him and his character in The Boys. Really big fan of that show. I really like his character there as well. But I also really enjoyed his performance and his character in this. And he just kind of has a good on-screen presence where even if he is more of the bad guy role, you kind of can't help but just take to his character. And he creates a character that you just enjoy watching, whether he's good or bad. And so I think he did a really solid job in this film. The standout for me, though, is probably the most obvious one, but Sophie Thatcher I was really impressed with. This is somebody who I've just kind of recently become introduced to with last year's Heretic. That was the first film of hers that I saw. I was really impressed with her performance in that. But I think her performance here in Companion is even better. She does a really good job here. I've been curious about the show Yellow Jackets, and I haven't watched any of it yet, but knowing that she is in that show has got me intrigued in it even more. I might have to give that show a watch. But as it relates to Companion, she does a really solid job. And just immediately, based on what we learn about her and through her performance, right from the opening of the movie, she really just kind of pulls you in. There's just some good kind of nuances and subtleties to her performance that really create kind of an intriguing and sort of mysterious type of character that we, at least for me, was just really kind of drawn to. And I also thought that their characters, both Josh and Iris, had some good on-screen chemistry. And so this is kind of a cool film as well, in some similar ways to the previous film that I reviewed, The Gorge. Has a little bit of kind of a subgenre mashup here where you do get some horror. There's even a little bit of romance in here, and there is some humor and some comedy. There is some thrills. There's kind of a little bit of a mystery in there as well. And so it kind of just blends all those together quite well. And I just really liked the balance of it all. I think there is some humor that lands quite well. Not all of it lands, but it does a good job mixing horror with the humor, which for somebody like myself, that's typically the hardest kind of genres to mix together for me. I'm typically more on the negative side when it comes to horror comedies, but I think this one does a pretty effective job overall. And so you do get a good mixture of the romance, a little bit of the dark comedy, and also some pretty kind of gnarly, horrific moments in there as well. There's definitely kind of some blood and guts a little bit, definitely some blood that flows in this too. And so it's got a handful of different ingredients that it's working with that I all thought tasted quite good, I guess. In addition to that, though, the movie also has some kind of interesting themes and ideas that it's working with that give the film a little bit of subtext. You know, it's not the most thought-provoking film by any means, but it has some, I would say, themes that are pretty prevalent to today's society. Again, don't want to get into any specifics so as to give anything away, but yeah, it kind of has some interesting perspectives and angles and things to look at regarding modern relationships and things like that I thought just kind of added a little something extra to the film. And so I appreciated that as well. And so, like I said, overall, I really had a good time with this. And even if you had that opening reveal spoiled, I think the surprises, the twists and turns, and the unpredictability of the rest of the film after that more than make up for it. It's definitely going to keep you guessing. It has its fair share of surprising moments that I just really enjoyed and had a really fun time, you know, going on the ride and seeing how it was all going to play out. And so was really impressed with the overall story, solid writing, some good characters and good performances there as well. And so, yeah, had a good time with Companion. I would definitely recommend it. Overall, I'm close to an 8 out of 10 with this one. So definitely 7.5, possibly 8 out of 10. I think it's a good one. It's a fun time. So those are my thoughts. Hit me up down below. Like always, would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on this one. That is all I got for you. Thank you so much for watching. If you got anything out of this video, go ahead and do me a favor and do not click that subscribe button unless you want to be haunted by the beard.